What is up, Nuggets? It's your boy, Killer Pizza, here with a brand new video for you rascals and rapscallions out there. Now, this is my third video of the day. I hope you guys aren't getting sick of me yet. I feel like Rambo Raph right now, just busting these videos out. But with this one in particular, I knew I could record this today and maybe hold off releasing it until next weekend. But I've also been telling you guys I'm going to put this out for the last 3 weeks. So I said, fuck it, man. I can't just keep bullshitting you guys. Let me watch the movie and give my honest thoughts. So this isn't even going to be much of a review, more so me kind of giving my thoughts on the movie itself, and that being 1983's Christine, directed by John Carpenter. Now, this is a Stephen King adaptation. Maybe that's part of the reason I held off so long on watching this, because I am not the biggest Stephen King fan, compared to others at least. It's kind of the same effect I mentioned earlier today with like House of a Thousand Corpses. Like, I love it, but the people who love Rob Zombie movies are like diehard. And I think the same with Stephen King. I'm about in the middle of the road with his movies, though I do enjoy pretty much all of them. But what really gets me is it's a John Carpenter film that I've never seen. And John Carpenter is my favorite director. I think the biggest thing overall is I've always thought a killer car, like that seems kind of stupid to me, you know, which in regards it is kind of stupid, which a lot of horror movies are kind of stupid in the description itself. But that's what makes them fun. That's what makes them awesome in a lot of ways. But anyways, I first posted something on my Facebook, like, pick 2 Stephen King movies of the lot, you know, and those are the only 2 you can ever watch again. One of those kind of deals. And a couple of close friends of mine were saying Christine, and I mentioned the same thing. I've never seen this before. And they told me, you know, it's not about a killer car necessarily. It's more about the characters. You just have to check it out. And when I did, like, a physical media update, and I grabbed this 4K, I had 2 or 3 different people telling me, check that out, watch it. You got to let us know what you think. So here we are. I watched this last night. And I'm going to let you guys know right off the rip, you know, I don't feel I have to give much of a plot synopsis or whatnot. I really enjoyed this movie. I was surprised, you know, one of the first things I do when I put a movie on, I don't know if any of you guys do this too, I look at the runtime, I see 1 hour and 50 minutes. I say, okay, longer than 90 minutes. Let's see. That extra 20 minutes can really make a movie drag at times. But anyways, for anybody who doesn't know what this movie is about, it's a story of this kind of nerdy kid in high school that gets picked on, and he ends up buying his first car. He just gets drawn to this car, 1957 Plymouth, and he ends up fixing it up in the junkyard, and the car almost takes over him. He gets overly obsessed with his car, and it kind of like turns him and starts turning his spirit and his mind, like controlling him and making him almost into a different person, almost turning him a bit evil. And then he's kind of getting revenge on people with the car and whatnot through the movie and whatnot. And there's a lot of great interaction between the characters. That is by far the best part of the movie, because that plot right there doesn't sound like anything too crazy. You know, I like the idea more of a car kind of haunting somebody into being the evil entity than the car just killing people itself. But we get a little mixture of both. What I love about this movie is, I will say, in typical Stephen King fashion, it reminds me of, like, not necessarily Stand By Me, but in a way, you know, like the dialogue between the characters, like a nice little throwback here. And it follows this kid, Arnie, like I said, Arnie Cunningham. He's this big dork, and he's getting bullied by everybody in school, and his one friend is, I believe his name was Dennis, and he's kind of like a jock, but like a cool jock, you know what I mean? Like the jocks in Dazed and Confused, like Pink, not the rest of the jocks. They're kind of assholes. Yeah, like Pink, not like Ben Affleck. Fuck him. He deserved getting paint poured on him. But anyways, we just get a lot of character development here, where the joke is, you know, he's trying to get Arnie laid, you know, in the senior year of high school. This new girl, Leah, moves into town and enters the school, and she's kind of like an attractive girl, but smart girl, you know, and all the boys are kind of drooling over her and everything. And we just follow, like, all the characters through high school in the first, like, act and whatnot, where we get introduced to these bullies who are the antagonists, kind of, besides the car. And this part right here, you know, I liked it at first, get introduced to these characters and their quirks and everything, but when they introduced these bullies, this is when this movie really started, like, tugging at me, you know. The way the bully's, like, childlike, holding the kid's lunch from him and everything, and cuts the lunch, drops on the ground, and, like, he ends up pulling out a switchblade. He's got the, you know, this John Travolta-looking motherfucker with long hair, and it's like, I hated this guy when I was seeing this, and that's something I like in a movie, when you can, especially in a horror movie. Too many times people say the characters don't matter, you know, it's all about the kills. I disagree. You know, I can watch a movie with shitty characters, and if the kills are great, that's awesome. But if you flip it the other way, that's almost even better. And if you have both in the same combo, good kills, good characters, nothing beats it. So if you can find a character like Arnie, for me, where I'm truly feeling bad for getting picked on. And then this bully that I'm enraged watching do this shit to him, just pick on him, and then his friend to come save the day, who I can relate to a lot, like when I was younger, like, I just thought that was really nice and really cool, you know, and they're heading home, and Arnie sees this 1957 Plymouth, which I love the opening scene of them building these in the shops, because I'm from Detroit, Michigan, right outside Detroit, and I have plenty of friends and family that work at Ford, GM, and whatnot, so it's kind of cool to see the assembly line and the old Motown music playing. But fast forward to Arnie finding this car, and it's all beat up in this creepy guy's yard, and he just falls in love with the car, and his friend Dennis can't understand why. And when you see the whole movie, you'll get why. That, like, it almost has like this essence, this trance, like it pulls somebody in, and he just has to have this car. He takes it into the junkyard, and he ends up fixing it up real nice and everything. And then, you know, we get a little more development with the characters. And I will say the 4K looks amazing. This car in general, you know, like anybody who has an upgrade to 4K, I highly recommend it. You know, certain movies have better quality in 4K than others, lend themselves to it, whatnot. But like, just like the football game showing like the red helmets and the uniforms, the red color on the car, just little shit like that really popped. And we get to a point where like everyone's trying to pick up this Leah girl, including one of these jocks that are in the movie. And isn't it weird when like you'll see someone that has like a small role in something, you're like, where is he from? And I looked it up, I Wikipedia'd it. One of the jocks is plays the final guy in one of my favorite movies, Night of the Comet. The guy who picks up what's her face? Whatever. We're talking about Christine here. You guys know what I'm talking about. Kelly Mulroney. But anyways, yeah, it's funny how you notice like one character is from another movie, which is funny. These jocks are really cool and nice in the movie, where these like greasers are the dicks. Usually the jocks are represented as the assholes. But anyways, everyone's trying to ask out this girl Leah, and she can't. She already has a date, and it turns out to be Arnie, who next time Dennis sees him, he's kind of being more rebellious to his parents. He's got his hair slicked back. He doesn't have the glasses. Like, it's like he has this new confidence, but really it's kind of this car kind of giving him this essence in a way. At least that's the way I took it. It's the car kind of controlling him. Excuse me. And he goes on the date with Leah, takes her to the football game, and this is where Dennis gets almost paralyzed playing football, and he's in the hospital room and everything. And where Arnie was being cold to him a bit before, he's a little more open to him, like when he meets him in the hospital. So they still got the friendship there, but there's a difference, you know what I mean? And this girl, Leah, starts to get jealous of Christine, the car, when they're in the drive-in. And this is when she gets locked in the car and starts like choking on her food, like the car is trying to kill her. Every time the car goes to kill somebody, it'll play the radio, some old Motown songs, and also communicates to Arnie through songs. Like a song will come on at one point about like, I love you. And it's just kind of cool. And the girl's terrified of this car. She's like, get rid of the car or me, which this car is probably way more expensive than, you know, the relationship. I don't know. Why would he get rid of his car? But, you know, there's a part in the beginning that's kind of endearing where his friend's asking him, why'd you get this car? He says, because it's the only thing uglier than me, and I know I can fix it up. It's like, oh, man, come on. And I'm surprised, too, that Arnie kind of becomes the main character. I figured it would be Dennis, though he kind of does kind of come around towards the final act. He's kind of nowhere to be seen in the second act or whatnot. But so this car's kind of doing its own thing, creating a mind of itself. And I'm sorry, guys, if I'm going through the entire plot for the people that have seen this. I'm just trying to give all my thoughts in here. Like, we hit a moment where these jocks are like, don't like this Arnie kid. And it's like, I know kids can be cruel and everything, but it's like, man, what a good job of these bullies. It's like, what the fuck is your guys' problem? You know what I mean? They go into the shop that he keeps his car because his parents won't let him keep it at the house. Really controlling parents. And they just beat the shit out of this car. And that pissed me off too. Like, imagine not liking somebody so much you take 4 or 5 guys and just take sledgehammers and pickaxes to somebody's car. Like, what a bunch of losers, man. Arnie finds the car like that. He's absolutely devastated. And then when Leah leaves, you know, he tells the police or whatever, the car just regenerates, which was really fucking cool. I like that a lot. And he's like, show me what you can do. And now he's kind of on the same page of knowing that the car has something different to it. And everybody else is starting to get a feeling too. Leah, Dennis, and everything. Even the family. Like, what's going on with this? You get a cop kind of following him around, questioning these deaths and everything because the car starts killing people. And that was my biggest gripe going into this. I'm like, that sounds boring. Like, how many ways can the car kill somebody? And though I feel there's a lot of shackles on the storyline, which I was right in that regard, it is a very original story and something different than I've ever really seen before. So I got to give it credit to that. Like, I didn't necessarily enjoy the kills by the car. Like, how many times can you strangle someone with a seatbelt or run somebody over? You know what I mean? But I did like the element, you know, that it was different, something fresh to me at least, first time watch. And I love when this car starts going on a rampage, killing these bullies off. Like, the windows are blacked out, so you can't really tell if Arnie's in there driving the car or the car has a mind of its own. So there's kind of that little mystery in there. And we get this really cool scene. One of my favorite parts is when the car crashes into this like auto shop. The gas leaks everywhere from a different car and the whole place blows up. Now, I will say, if you haven't upgraded to 4K, or you have, just my opinion, like I said, certain thing lends itself to 4K more. Like when I watch Jaws, the ocean looks incredible. And I'll say fire and explosions look awesome in 4K. I will never not stop saying that. And this is one of the coolest visuals, is when the car's completely on fire chasing this jock. And this is probably my favorite kill in the movie. The car chases him for a while and it looks badass on fire, but when it runs him over, he's on fire, already dead from impact, just charring away. The car comes back into the shop, all burnt up and everything, and then right back to normal. And we're getting to the point where Arnie's losing. You know, he's dropped out of school and everything to take care of this car, and the car's completely consumed him, made him evil. And it made me laugh. I was thinking earlier today, I was like, I hate how Halloween ends. It's like, did the writer or director of Halloween Ends have a hard-on for Christine? Because, like, if you think about it, it's like Arnie, Corey Covington, both nerds. He gets this car. Arnie gets this motorcycle. They both fix up their car and their motorcycle in these, like, junkyards. And then when he's driving around this motorcycle, all of a sudden he's a badass, like Arnie in his car. So it's not, Michael Myers isn't the evil that possesses Corey Covington. It's that damn motorcycle. And Corey Covington. Arnie Covington. I just solved the fucking mystery, guys. Oh, that's funny. I really wonder if that is an influence. You know, same last name. That's kind of an odd coincidence after I made that joke. But, yeah, we get to this final scene where Arnie's driving like over 100 down the expressway, or down the road with Dennis, and he gives this pretty creepy dialogue, like this morbid dialogue and everything. And this is when Dennis and Leah make this plan to destroy Christine. And this is like a fun ending. They do it well. You know, I will say good music in this, by the way, score by John Carpenter, but there's a lot of like old Motown songs and a lot of fun, like classic rock in here as well. I'll throw that in there real quick. But the ending was fun, where they get this big heavy machinery, like tractor thing, like like a crane. I don't know what the fuck it was off the top of my head. And the plan is to crush Christine, which at this point, the car goes to crash in the office, which was where Dennis told the girl to hide in the office, which would have been a terrible idea. It would have just Terminated his way straight through, like in the police station, and killed her. But Arnie goes flying out of the car, the windshield, with glass through his chest, and dies. So that's kind of like a fun thing, because though I felt like this was possessing him in a way, it was just the car by itself killing all these bullies and people. But this time it was Arnie in the car himself killing it, so it's almost like the evil completely overtook him. And, you know, for a car that can keep regenerating and can only kill people so many other ways, I was like, this is kind of iffy. Like, how are they going to kill this car if it can just keep coming to life? So they crush it with this big heavy machinery deal. And I'm like, it's just going to regenerate again, which it does. They crush it more, and it cuts to a scene of it being like all the way in a block. You know what I mean? Like how they crush it down, like demo style, and they just drop it on the ground. The cops there, which is funny. I always wonder in these movies, like, how are they going to explain this to the police? But the cops just like, you're heroes. I'm like, so now everybody believes the car was alive, or do they just think they killed Arnie? I guess I don't know. So I love that I always find holes in movies, like. I could be watching a movie, the weirdest plot, you know, like I could watch Street Trash and be like, why did that happen? I'm like, well, think about the whole plot. This makes no sense. I digress. I love the little dark humor at the end where the music starts playing from the car again. It's just like a construction worker or a demo guy walking by with a boombox on his shoulder, and he gives him a look like, wait, what you looking at? You know, like New Yorker style, even though they're in California. I don't know why my brain works this way, but it does. So that was fun. You know, I thought it was a little anticlimactic with the ending, but I will say it was saved just based on the characters. My buddy Carlos, who told me that it's mostly just about the characters, he was right. Like, totally invested in this. Like, I guess that is where it reminds me of, like, Stand By Me. Like, because it is kind of like a coming-of-age movie in some regards, you know? It's not as deep as Stand By Me. Obviously, it's more fun. you know, a little vulgar and stuff in this, but for a movie with a killer car, I'm sold. I love this movie. This was really good, and definitely one I would revisit over and over again. You know, not the best Stephen King story, but with the characters, it worked. You know, and what more can I say? You know, John Carpenter directing, even though I heard he just did this for a paycheck back in the day, it was great. You know, classic John Carpenter directing, John Carpenter score. He had some good music with rock and roll in there. All the characters are great and memorable, even down to like the parents and even the detective that played a small role, even the guy who ran the shop that Arnie was fixing his car in. Everybody was memorable. You know, you really liked Arnie and Dennis and Leah. You really hated these bullies. You started to get concerned for Arnie when he was leaning over towards the edge, kind of wondering, is he the one driving the car or not? Is he getting kind of possessed by this entity or not? So there's a little bit of a mystery in there. And, you know, just overall, one hell of a good movie. I actually had a lot of fun with this, and I can't believe it took me this long to watch this. Like I said, those are the things I liked. I can't think of much negatives. I hate having a nitpick for negatives. That's why I don't like reviewing movies anymore. Though that might be what I name this video. I'm not sure yet, because it's like, who the fuck am I to criticize this type of stuff? You know what I mean? I just give my thoughts and say, probably the one thing I disliked about this was just the limitations on how far the car could go as a killer. But at the same time, I mentioned earlier, that's something I kind of liked about it, because though it was limited, it was a completely different take on a horror film and a lot of fun in that way. So, yeah, I would highly suggest anyone who hasn't seen this, just like me, check it out. You know, really, really good movie. Real good, you know. I loved it. Looked great in 4K. Sounded good. Yeah. I really, really enjoyed this. What more can I say? I'm ranting and rambling on now. But either way, thanks for everybody that pushed me to watch this, you know, because I can't believe it's been so long. One hell of a watch. Christine rules. Other than that, Blood Guts Gore. I'll check you guys next time.